Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard Moglen, and welcome back to a weekly watch list video sponsored by MarketSmith. And overall, here are the 11 names on my focus list for this upcoming trading week. And in this video, I'll talk through both their fundamentals as well as the setup that I would use to trade each of them. And if you do enjoy my analysis, please go ahead right now and take just a few seconds to leave me a like down below. It really helps me out and my channel. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one every single week. So diving right in, let's start with AMD. And overall, the electron semiconductor groups have been very strong. This is ranked 1 out of 197, so it's in a leading group, which just adds to the probability of a potential setup working. Now, it is forming a little bit of a handle, pulling back on below average volume late last week, and it's back near the 21 EMA and also the 50 SMA. So I'm watching for some tightening action and ideally maybe an inside day or two right above these key moving averages, and then a breakout through those levels, managing risk right at that swing low or using the 50 SMA and the 140 level. So that's ideally what I'm looking for. And overall, I view AMD as one of the liquid leaders within this group. We'll talk about NVDA later on in the video. And you've got tremendous growth numbers in terms of earnings, sales margins, really strong estimates for 2022, which I think is super important at 27%, and estimates are up, which is great. Nice increase in fund ownership as well, and 3 high quality funds. So that's what I'm looking for AMD. Moving on, we've got FCX, and this is in the mining metals ores group, which is kind of setting up all together here. Really strong growth numbers the past 4 quarters. Great estimates for 2021 and fall through in 2022, up 17%, and estimate revisions are up as well. And overall, you've got nice growth in fund ownership and 3 high quality funds invested into this stock. And right now it's just peaking above the 41.60 pivot from the stage 2 cup with handle. Nice big base as well, really nicely formed. There's almost kind of a base and then a smaller base within this overall structure. So I really like the setup here. A nice long base. You had an early entry right here, but now it's tightening up once again. Had a failed breakout here, which isn't the worst thing, but it's holding the structure. Maybe we get a shakeout, maybe a gap down the market, and then you can buy an oops reversal or just a standard breakout through these highs right here, managing risk right at this swing low. So ideally, we do get a nice strong breakout and you can be at a profit right away. And basically, we trend for a few days. That would be the optimal setup for FCX. Moving on, we've got GFS, an IPO within the semiconductor sector here. The overall group is ranked 12 out of 197, so still a leading group here. And overall, really strong earnings and sales the most recent quarter. And estimates are very strong for 2022. It's supposed to be profitable and earn $1.74. No real fund information over here just yet, but let's actually click this button here, and you can see that there's 142 funds owning shares of this stock. So overall, looks pretty strong. And looking at the chart, it looks very similar to most growth names here. You've got to move off the bottom here, and now it's kind of handling out, and you've got to pivot right near these highs. But you've got pretty tight action. The past 2 days are inside this bar right here. So I'm watching for a breakout. If you go to a 60-minute chart, you've got a pretty well-defined pivot right at these highs right here. So I'm watching for a breakout through here, managing risk right at that low of the day, or even right here. So that is GFS. Definitely an IPO to watch, and this is also very liquid, which adds the probability of it working and making a nice run from the stage 1 IPO base. Moving on, we've got ICLR, which is in the medical research equipment group, which has a lot of names working right now. Really strong earnings sales margins in the most recent 3 quarters. Decent EPS estimates for this year and the next, and estimate revisions are up. A nice solid increase in fund ownership and 4 high quality funds invested in this stock. And looking at the chart, you can see it's right above a stage 2 here, forming kind of a high handle. You had an early entry right here within the base, and now we're finding some sellers up here as well and consolidating this quick move. So I'm watching for a breakout through these highs. Maybe we get a shakeout, maybe we don't, but I want to see a nice strong push and basically a strong closing range on very high volume. This handle has been on declining volume, which is very constructive. So that is ICLR, definitely one to have on your watch list. And this overall group, medical research equipment, is pretty strong as well. Moving on, we've got LCID, Lucid Group. And overall, no real growth numbers to be found just yet. You can see it's not supposed to be profitable this year or the next, but you've got a decent amount of fund ownership already and 1 high quality fund in here. And we had a strong push up here. And right now we're basing price support right at this previous high volume close right above 35. So what I'm watching for is a low cheat entry through 40. I want to see a breakout on volume, ideally a push back through the 21 EMA as well as the rising 50 SMA, and basically the start of the right hand side of the space. And most likely you'll get more than one shot of this, even if you do miss a move if this happens, where we'll kind of push up, then consolidate, go sideways, let those moving averages kind of curl up under price, and then we'll get some more moves and hopefully eventually a breakout towards all-time highs. So that's what I'm watching for LCID, and we'll have to see if Tesla and the overall group participates as well. Moving on, we've got LLY, Eli Lilly and Company, and overall this acting very well, just above a stage 3 cup with handle here. Strong growth numbers, the most recent 4 quarters. Not too strong estimates for 2022. They're only up 4%, the annual EPS estimates, but the estimate revisions are up. Decent amount of fund ownership and 2 high-quality funds invested in the stock. And this is kind of a slower mover. It's kind of a more established, mature company, but sometimes it's good to have that within your portfolio to kind of balance out the faster movers like an LCID. Overall, looking at the chart, you can see it's right within this pivot zone here. Very tight the past 5 days. You've got a pivot right at these levels before the 283.9 all-time highs, and super low volume here. So maybe we have a breakout or maybe a shakeout, undercut and reclaim of this range. That could be actionable as well. But I also wouldn't mind if this just kind of consolidates, goes sideways, continues to move to the right, and let those kind of moving averages catch up to price at 21 EMA. I think that would be very constructive. So definitely want to watch and have on your radar, especially if you want a little bit of a slower name to add to your portfolio. Moving on, we've got Micron Technology, and this isn't necessarily actionable right now. I think it is kind of extended and also kind of pulling back in a very short-term sense. But overall, I think this is a leader and definitely an overall group to watch, computer data storage. And you've got fantastic growth numbers the past 4 quarters. Decent estimates for this year and the next, 31% EPS estimates for 2023. Estimate revisions are down, so I'd love to see that kind of flip here. And you've got decent fund ownership, but no high-quality funds invested at this time. So overall, we had a strong push here from the earnings gap up. I did play this. I've got a half position remaining. But at the moment, we are kind of pulling back in a very short-term sense. I'd love to see us stay above this level right here, just kind of base out and go sideways maybe for a few days, get tight again, and then break out once again. So that's the ideal scenario. You could start a new position here, manage risk right at this higher low or this one as well. But I wouldn't mind to see some consolidation, some sideways move within this longer term basically base here, and then have a strong breakout on volume into new all-time highs. So that is MU. And also worth noting that going to a monthly chart, this entire base is almost the handle of a longer term base, very long term, about 20 years. So definitely worth keeping an eye on that. This level, which is 97.5, is a very significant level that a lot of people are watching. So moving on, we've got NVIDIA, and as I mentioned when we talked about AMD, this is kind of the other liquid leader within this space. Really strong growth numbers the past 4 quarters. Great estimates for this year and fall through of 19% in terms of annual EPS in 2023. Nice increase in fund ownership and a whole bunch of high quality funds invested into this stock. Overall, it's pulling back into the 50 SMA on declining volume. I want to see it respect this key moving average, get back above 300, and kind of have a nice push through this pivot on volume. Maybe you have an inside day and up, or just a 2-2 reversal off this moving average, and you can manage risk right at the swing low and that key MA. So that is NVIDIA. Definitely want to watch if you're interested in the semi space, and this is in the leading group as of this moment. Moving on, we've got SLAB, Silicon Laboratories, and overall not great numbers the most recent quarter, but you do have nice growth a few quarters ago. And looking at the annual numbers, you can see really nice growth in 2021, basically a breakout year after a very poor 2020, and now we've got decent fall through in 2022. Looking at the chart here, you can see a nice breakout from this stage 2 base, and now it's forming a very tight stage 3 base here below 210.98. So I'm watching for a breakout through that, as well as these highs right here, managing risk right at this swing low on a potential breakout, and maybe we get a shake out of this range, another kind of rally back into this range. That would be actionable as well. Nice upside reversal, and then you can kind of add on a breakout if it happens. But overall, definitely one to watch. And once again, this is in a leading group, so that just kind of adds to probabilities of it being a successful trade. Last on the list, we've got Tesla. I think we all know this company here. Great earnings sales margins the most recent 4 quarters, great estimates for this year, and really nice estimates for 2022. And I think this number right here, 46%, is very significant. Estimate revisions are up, and you've got a nice increase in fund ownership and 4 high quality funds in here as well. As for our chart, we just moved out of this very large stage 2 cup, and then we formed a kind of sloppy stage 3, kind of wide and loose here on the left hand side, but we are seeing some tightening action on the right hand side. You've got a pivot right at these levels, and like NVIDIA, it's pulling back into the 50 SMA on declining volume, so I want to see it confirm off that and respect it. If we do undercut this and kind of leak below the 21 EMA and the 1000 level, I think we're in for more basing, but potentially we could get a nice push right towards all-time highs. And this actually wasn't the last one on my list. We've also got WIRE, really nice growth in terms of earnings sales margins in the most recent 4 quarters, really strong 2021 in terms of annual EPS, and in 2022 we're actually supposed to decrease annual EPS 56%, but estimate revisions are up, so that is a good sign. And overall, pretty much a flat amount of funds owning the stock and no high quality funds, and there's really a play on the potential power play setup that we're seeing right here. So overall, a nice push from the stage 2C base, and now it pulled back to the 50 SMA and is moving out the right hand side and forming a tight range right above 140. So I'm watching for a push through here, through these highs, managing risk right at the swing low, and ideally a breakout all the way from here right into all-time highs. So that's why I'm watching with WIRE. Definitely want to watch given the power and strength of this price move. So overall, that is my list going into next week. Let me know your thoughts and your favorite setup from this list down below in the comment section, and let me know any major names I list as well, and also give me your top idea for next week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.